Stage 3 breast cancer. That's what the doctor told me on a Tuesday morning at 9:47 a.m. I remember the exact time because I was staring at the clock on the wall, trying to make sense of words that didn't feel real. I drove home in a daze, 45 minutes on the highway, and I don't remember a single mile. All I kept thinking was, I need to tell Derek. I need my husband. But when I walked through that front door, when I opened my mouth to tell the man I'd been married to for 15 years that I might be dying, he handed me divorce papers. Not a hug, not, baby, what's wrong, not, let me hold you. Divorce papers. And the words that came out of his mouth? Carmen, I think it's best if you move out. You can focus on your health somewhere else. I'm keeping the house. The house that I paid for. The house I bought with my inheritance. The house where I raised his children, fed his mother, funded his sister, and carried his entire family on my back for 15 years. He wanted me out in 3 days. 3 days to pack up my life so his 28-year-old girlfriend could move in. But here's what Derek didn't know. Here's what none of them knew. I saw this coming. 3 years ago, I found out exactly who my husband was. And instead of crying, instead of begging, instead of falling apart, I started building my case. Every receipt, every screenshot, every hidden account he thought I didn't know about, every lie he told, every dollar he stole. I documented everything. So when Derek handed me those divorce papers, thinking he was about to destroy me, baby, he had no idea. He wasn't starting a war. He was walking into an ambush. By the time I was done with him, he didn't just lose the house and the cars and the money. He lost his law license. He lost his reputation. He lost his mama's house too, the same house I bought for her while she told everyone I wasn't good enough for her son. Let me tell you how a woman with cancer took down a man who thought she was already dead. If you've ever given everything to people who would drop you the second you needed them, if you've ever carried a family that wouldn't carry you back, hit that subscribe button right now. Drop a comment and tell me what city you're watching from. I want to see how far this story reaches. And trust me, you're going to want to hear how this ends. My name is Carmen James. I'm 42 years old, and this is the story of how I stopped being everybody's mule and became my own miracle. Let's start from the beginning. To understand what happened that Tuesday, you need to understand what my life looked like before. You need to see what I was carrying. Because when I tell you I was tired, I mean the kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix. The kind of tired that settles into your bones and makes you forget what it feels like to breathe without weight on your chest. I've been working at Memorial Hospital for 18 years. Started as a floor nurse, worked my way up to hospital administrator. 60, 70 hours a week, on my feet, on call, managing a staff of 200 people while managing a household that treated me like the help. Let me paint you a picture of a typical day in my life. 4:30 in the morning, my alarm goes off. Not because I want to wake up, but because Mother Gloria, my mother-in-law, likes her coffee ready by 5:15. If it's not ready when she comes down those stairs, I hear about it. Carmen, you know I have stomach problems. I need my coffee at the right temperature. This woman has been living in my house for 10 years. 10 years. Rent-free. Bill-free. I pay for her medications, $400 every single month. I drive her to her doctor appointments, using my personal time off from work. I cook her meals, wash her clothes, clean her bathroom. And every Sunday at church, she tells anyone who will listen that her son could have done better, that I don't appreciate him, that I work too much and don't take care of my family. My family? I am the one taking care of this family. Every single bill in that house had my name on it because Derek's credit was destroyed years ago. The mortgage? Me. The car payments? Both of them. Me. Utilities, groceries, insurance? Me, me, me. Derek hadn't held a steady job in 6 years. 6 years! He called himself a consultant. You know what that means? It means he played golf 3 times a week and had lunch meetings that never turned into actual clients. But he always had money for new suits, Always had money for the gym membership at that fancy athletic club downtown. Always had gas in his Mercedes SUV. My money, my credit, his lifestyle. And then there was his sister, Patricia. Lord, let me tell you about Patricia. Every other week it was something. Carmen, I need to borrow $500 just until Friday. Carmen, the kids need school supplies. Can you help me out? Carmen, my car broke down. I don't know what I'm going to do. Friday never came. She never paid me back. Not once in 15 years. I had a running total in my head, over $15,000 gone. And if I ever hesitated, if I ever said, Patricia, you still owe me from last month, suddenly I was the villain. Suddenly I was the one who didn't care about family. Suddenly Derek was in my ear talking about, that's my sister Carmen, we have to help family. We, like he was contributing anything. So that's what my life looked like. Work myself to death, come home, work myself to death again. Cook, clean, pay bills, solve everybody's problems. Fall into bed exhausted, wake up, and do it all over again. I couldn't remember the last time I did something for myself. Couldn't remember the last time I bought myself something nice without feeling guilty. Couldn't remember the last time someone asked me how I was doing and actually wanted to hear the answer. I was disappearing. Day by day, piece by piece, I was becoming invisible in my own life. And my body was trying to tell me something was wrong. For months, I'd been ignoring the signs. The fatigue that wouldn't go away no matter how much I slept. The lump I felt in the shower one morning and convinced myself was nothing. The way my clothes fit different. The night sweats. I'm a hospital administrator. I know what these symptoms could mean. But I told myself I was fine. Told myself I didn't have time to be sick. Who was going to take care of everybody if I stopped to take care of myself? That's the lie we tell ourselves, isn't it? That we're indispensable. That everything will fall apart without us. That we can rest later. Later almost never came for me. It was my best friend Jackie who finally made me go to the doctor. Jackie has been my girl since nursing school. Owns her own accounting firm now, sharp as a tack, doesn't take nonsense from anyone. She came by my office one day, took one look at me and said, Carmen, you look like death warmed over. When's the last time you saw a doctor? I tried to brush her off. I'm fine, Jackie, just tired. She wasn't having it. You've been tired for 6 months. That's not normal tired. That's something's wrong tired. I'm making you an appointment and I'm driving you there myself. I told her I didn't need a babysitter. She told me she didn't care. That's how I ended up at Dr. Patterson's office on a Monday afternoon. Routine checkup, I told myself. Jackie was just being dramatic. I'd be in and out in an hour, and then I could get back to the 1,000 things on my to-do list. But Dr. Patterson felt the lump, and she didn't like what she felt. Carmen, I want to send you for a mammogram today, and we're going to do a biopsy. My heart stopped. Today? Can't it wait until... No. She looked me straight in the eye. It can't wait. They found it that same afternoon, a mass, 3 centimeters, in my left breast. I sat in that examination room alone, in one of those paper gowns, cold and scared and by myself. Derek was supposed to meet me there. I called him that morning, told him about the appointment, asked if he could come. Baby, I have a meeting I can't miss, but call me when you're done, okay? I'm sure it's nothing. It wasn't nothing. They scheduled more tests, a PET scan, blood work, everything moved fast, too fast, and the whole time I was alone. Jackie had a client emergency and couldn't stay. My mama lived 30 minutes away and didn't drive. Derek was wherever Derek was. I drove myself to every appointment, sat in every waiting room by myself, held my own hand when the fear got too big. And then came that Tuesday. Dr. Patterson called me into her office first thing in the morning. Not the examination room, her office. I knew before she opened her mouth that the news was bad. Carmen, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. The biopsy results came back. It's breast cancer. Stage 3. It's spread to your lymph nodes. The room tilted. I grabbed the armrest of the chair to keep from falling. What does that mean? It means we need to move fast. You're going to need surgery, chemotherapy, possibly radiation. We're going to fight this aggressively, Carmen, but I need you to understand the seriousness of what we're facing. The words bounced around my head like pinballs. I couldn't make them stick, couldn't make them make sense. Carmen, do you have someone you can call? Someone who can be with you today? I thought of Derek, my husband of 15 years, the man who promised to love me in sickness and in health. Yes, I whispered. I have someone. I tried to call him from the parking lot, straight to voicemail. I tried again from the car, voicemail. I texted him, please call me, it's important. No response. So I drove home, 45 minutes on the highway with tears streaming down my face, trying to figure out how to tell my husband I had cancer, trying to figure out how we were going to fight this together, trying to figure out how I was going to be strong enough for what was coming. I had no idea what was actually waiting for me when I walked through that door. I had no idea that cancer wasn't going to be the worst thing I faced that day. I pulled into the driveway at 11:30 in the morning. Derek's Mercedes was there, which surprised me. He was supposed to have that meeting he couldn't miss, the one that was more important than coming to the doctor with his wife. The house was quiet when I opened the front door. Too quiet. Usually, Mother Gloria had the television blasting some talk show or the other. Usually there was some kind of noise, some kind of life. But that day, the house felt strange, heavy, like it was holding its breath. I set my purse down on the table by the door and called out, Derek, you home? No answer. I walked toward the kitchen, and that's when I heard it, his voice, coming from the study at the back of the house. He was on the phone, and he was laughing. That easy, charming laugh he used when he was trying to impress someone. I moved closer. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop. I just wanted to tell him about the diagnosis. I just wanted my husband to hold me and tell me everything was going to be okay. But the words I heard stopped me cold. No, baby, it's perfect timing. She's sick, really sick from what I can tell. This is exactly what we've been waiting for. My blood went cold. I pressed myself against the wall outside the study door, barely breathing. I know, just a little longer. Once the divorce goes through, we'll have everything. The house, the accounts, all of it. And then you and me, baby, we can finally start our life together. He paused, laughed again. Brittany, stop worrying. She has no idea. Carmen's so busy playing Superwoman, she doesn't see anything. Trust me, I've got this handled. Brittany. The name hit me like a punch to the chest. I knew that name. I'd seen it on his phone 3 years ago, a text that popped up when he left his cell on the kitchen counter. Last night was amazing. Can't wait to see you again. 3 years ago, I found out my husband was cheating, and I said nothing. I'll explain why in a minute. But standing in that hallway, listening to him plan my destruction while I was still reeling from a cancer diagnosis, something inside me shifted. He kept talking. I kept listening. The house is in her name, but so what? We've been married 15 years. In Georgia, that's marital property. I'll get half of everything, maybe more. And with her being sick, the court's going to see that she can't manage things. They'll give me control. He was wrong about the law. Dead wrong. But he didn't know that, and I wasn't about to tell him. My mother? She's fine. She'll stay for now. Someone's got to cook and clean until you move in, right? He laughed, like it was funny, like I was a joke. Carmen's going to lose her mind when she finds out, but who cares? What's she going to do? She doesn't have anyone. Her family's useless. Her friends don't know anything. By the time she figures out what's happening, it'll be done. I had heard enough. I backed away from the door silently. My hands were shaking, but not from fear, not from sadness, from rage. Pure, clean, righteous rage. This man I had sacrificed for. This man I had put through law school, paying every tuition bill while working double shifts. This man whose failed business ventures I funded, again and again. This man whose mother I housed and fed and medicated for a decade. This man whose sister I gave money to every time she asked. This man thought I was going to lie down and die so he could take everything I built. He thought wrong. I walked to the kitchen and poured myself a glass of water. My hands steadied. My mind cleared. The shock was fading, replaced by something harder, something colder. I had known about Brittany for 3 years, and I had been preparing for this moment ever since. What Derek didn't know was that I had copies of everything. Every bank statement, every hidden credit card, every text message, every hotel receipt. I had surveillance reports from a private investigator. I had recorded conversations. I had financial documents that proved every single dollar in that house came from me. I had been building my case in secret, waiting for the day he would show his true colors. And now that day had come. Derek walked into the kitchen 10 minutes later. He had his charming smile on, the one that used to make my heart flutter. Now it made my stomach turn. "Hey, baby, you're home early. How'd the doctor's appointment go?" I looked at him, really looked at him. This man who had shared my bed for 15 years. This man who had watched me work myself to exhaustion and never once offered to help. This man who was planning to leave me when I was at my lowest. "It didn't go well, Derek." His expression didn't change. No concern, no alarm, just waiting, like he was expecting this. "What do you mean?" "I have cancer. Stage 3. Breast cancer. It's spread to my lymph nodes." I watched his face carefully, and what I saw confirmed everything. For just a second, a flicker of something crossed his features. Not grief, not fear for his wife. No, it was calculation. Like he was adding up numbers in his head, like he was figuring out how this news could work in his favor. Then the mask came back up. "Oh, baby, I'm so sorry. That's terrible. Come here." He opened his arms for a hug. I let him hold me, but my body was stiff. I wasn't the same woman who walked out that door this morning. Something had broken, or maybe something had finally healed. "We'll get through this," he said, his voice dripping with fake concern. "Together, you know I'm here for you." Lie. Everything out of his mouth was a lie. "I know," I said softly. "I know you're here for me." That night, Derek was extra attentive, made dinner, which he never did, brought me tea, kept asking how I was feeling. If I didn't know better, I might have thought he actually cared. But I knew the truth. He was playing a role, waiting for the right moment to strike. What he didn't know was that I was playing too. Around 9 o'clock, his phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then excused himself to the bathroom. I knew he was texting her. Brittany. Probably telling her about my diagnosis. Probably celebrating. When he came back, he said he was tired and headed upstairs to bed. But he didn't go to our bedroom. He went to the guest room. "I don't want to disturb your rest," he said. "You need sleep. We can talk more tomorrow." He'd been sleeping in the guest room for months, actually. I pretended not to notice, but I noticed everything. I stayed downstairs for a while, sitting in the dark living room thinking. The house was silent. Mother Gloria had gone to bed early. Derek was probably texting his girlfriend, and I was alone with my thoughts and my cancer and my crumbling marriage. But I wasn't falling apart. I was planning. Because here's what 15 years of being underestimated teaches you. People don't see you when they think you're beneath them. They talk freely in front of you. They leave things lying around. They assume you're too busy, too tired, too stupid to notice. I noticed everything. And in 3 years of noticing, I had built something. A case, a fortress of evidence that Derek didn't know existed. Tomorrow, I knew, everything would change. He would make his move. He thought he was the one in control. He had no idea. I went to bed that night with cancer in my body and fire in my soul. And for the first time in years, I slept peacefully. Because I knew something Derek didn't. The war he thought he was starting, I had already won it. Let me take you back, 3 years before that terrible Tuesday, 3 years before the cancer, 3 years before Derek handed me those divorce papers. Because this story doesn't start when he betrayed me. It starts when I found out who he really was and chose to wait. It was a Saturday afternoon. Derek was at his business meeting, which I later learned meant Brittany's apartment. Mother Gloria was at her sister's house for the weekend. I had the house to myself for once, and I was doing something I never got to do. Absolutely nothing. I was sitting on the couch, flipping through channels, when Derek's iPad lit up on the coffee table. He'd forgotten it when he left. He never forgot it. That thing was practically glued to his hand. A notification popped up, a text message. Now, I want you to know, I was not the kind of woman who went through her husband's things. In 12 years of marriage at that point, I had never once checked his phone, his email, his anything. I trusted him. I believed in our vows. But something made me look at that notification. Something in my spirit said, "Carmen, pay attention." The message was from someone named Brittany, and it said, "Last night was incredible. I can still feel you. When can I see you again?" My heart stopped. I picked up the iPad. My hands were trembling. The screen was still unlocked because the message had just come in. I opened the conversation, and my whole world shattered. Messages going back months, photos I can't describe on this platform, but trust me when I tell you they left nothing to the imagination. Plans for hotel rooms, pet names, "I love you. I can't wait to be with you forever. Once I leave Carmen," I sat there for I don't know how long, hours maybe, reading every message, scrolling back further and further, finding out that my husband had been having an affair for almost a year. Brittany was 25 at the time, a paralegal at a law firm downtown, not even his firm, a firm he'd supposedly been networking with to bring in new business. The things he told her about me. That was almost worse than the cheating. He called me boring, said I was more like a roommate than a wife, said I was too focused on work and not enough on him, said he deserved someone who appreciated him. I had given this man everything, everything, and in private, to his young girlfriend, he was tearing me apart. My first instinct was to confront him, to scream, to throw things, to pack his bags and put them on the lawn. I had every right, but something stopped me. Call it wisdom. Call it divine intervention. Call it years of watching other women go through this and lose everything. I thought about my friend Denise. Her husband cheated. She confronted him in a rage, and he turned it around on her. Made her look crazy. Ended up with the house and half custody of the kids because she couldn't control her emotions. I thought about my cousin Latrice. Found out her man was cheating. Kicked him out. Immediately. He moved all the money before she could blink. She spent 2 years fighting in court and ended up with nothing. I thought about my mama's sister, my Aunt Geneva. She's 75 now, wise as they come. When I was young, she told me something I never forgot. She said, "Carmen, when someone shows you who they are, don't react, plan. Let them think they're winning while you're building your case, because emotion loses in court. Evidence wins." So I made a decision, the hardest decision of my life. I did not confront Derek. I put that iPad back exactly where it was. I dried my tears, I fixed my face, and when he came home that night smelling like her perfume, I smiled and asked how his meeting went. He lied right to my face, and I let him. But from that moment on, everything changed. I started documenting everything. First thing I did was call Jackie, my best friend, the accountant. I told her what I found and asked for her help. "Carmen, you want to leave him? I'll help you pack tonight," she said. "No, I want to be smart about this. I want to know exactly what we have, what he's hiding, and how to protect myself." Jackie understood. She's seen too many women lose everything in divorce. She agreed to help me do a full financial audit of my marriage. What we found was worse than I expected. The house was in my name, thank God. My grandmother left me $85,000 when she passed, and I used it for the down payment. Grandma insisted the deed be in my name only. "Baby," she told me, "always keep something that's just yours. You never know." She was right. But the joint accounts? Derek had been draining them. slowly so I wouldn't notice. 1,000 here, 2,000 there. Always had an explanation. Business expenses, investment opportunity, helping Patricia out. Lies. All of it went to Brittany. Gifts, trips. That apartment she lived in, he was paying half her rent with my money. I also discovered credit cards I didn't know existed, opened in his name, but the bills were going to a P.O. box, $50,000 in debt, designer clothes, jewelry that never came home to me, expensive dinners at restaurants I'd never been to. Derek was living a whole other life and financing it with the money I worked 70 hours a week to earn. But I didn't say anything. Not yet. Instead, I started building my fortress. I opened a new bank account in my name only, started funneling money into it. Not much at first, just a few $100s a week, enough to build a safety net without raising suspicion. I made copies of everything: tax returns, bank statements, credit card bills, mortgage documents, insurance policies. Every piece of paper in that house I copied and stored at my mama's place. I hired a private investigator, a woman named Lorraine who came highly recommended. She started following Derek, documenting his movements, taking photos, recording conversations when legally possible. Do you know how many times my husband was at Brittany's apartment in those 3 years? 417 times. Lorraine had a log, dates, times, photos of him entering, photos of him leaving the next morning. 417 times he lied to me about where he was. I also started consulting with a divorce attorney, Vanessa Turner. We went to church together, actually. She'd been through her own nightmare divorce and come out the other side. She understood. Carmen, Vanessa told me, most women come to me after the damage is done, after he's moved the money, after he's turned the kids against her, after he's already filed. You're coming to me before. That gives you power. We spent 3 years preparing, going over Georgia divorce law, understanding what was community property and what was separate property, learning how adultery affected division of assets, documenting everything Derek was doing. And the whole time I played the role, the dutiful wife, the exhausted workhorse, the woman too busy to notice anything. Derek thought he was so smart. He thought he was getting away with everything. He'd come home after being with Brittany, kiss me on the cheek, and ask what was for dinner. He'd tell me about his productive day, while I knew exactly which hotel room he'd been in. I let him think he was winning, but every day my case got stronger. Some of you might be wondering why I stayed, why I didn't just leave when I found out. I'll tell you why. Because leaving wasn't enough. I needed to protect myself. I needed to protect my assets. I needed to make sure that when this man tried to destroy me, he wouldn't be able to. And most importantly, I needed him to make the first move. In Georgia, if you file for divorce, you're the petitioner. You set the tone. But if your spouse files and you can prove adultery, financial misconduct, hidden assets, the court looks very differently at your case. I needed Derek to think he was in control. I needed him to file first. I needed him to overplay his hand. So I waited. 3 years I waited. 3 years I documented. 3 years I planned. And then I got cancer. And Derek saw his opportunity. What he didn't realize was that I saw mine too. Everything I'd been preparing for was about to come together. Every receipt, every photo, every statement, every lie. He thought he was about to bury me. He had no idea I was about to rise. 48 hours after my diagnosis. 48 hours of waiting for the other shoe to drop. Derek had been acting strange since I told him about the cancer. Not strange like a concerned husband, strange like someone trying to figure out their next move. He was on his phone constantly, stepping outside to take calls, disappearing into the study for hours. He thought I didn't notice. I noticed everything. On Thursday evening, I came home from work early. I'd had a consultation with my oncologist about treatment options. Surgery was scheduled for 2 weeks out. Chemotherapy would follow. My body was about to become a battlefield, and I was going to need all my strength. But when I walked through that front door, I knew immediately that something was different. Derek was sitting at the dining room table. Not on his phone, not watching TV, just sitting there, waiting. His face had that look he got when he was about to deliver bad news to a client. Professional, detached, rehearsed. There was a manila envelope on the table in front of him. My heart should have been racing, but it wasn't. I'd been waiting for this moment for 3 years. "Carmen, we need to talk." I set my purse down, took off my jacket, moved slowly, deliberately. "Okay, Derek, what's on your mind?" He gestured to the chair across from him, like this was a business meeting, like we were negotiating a contract instead of ending a marriage. I sat down. "Carmen, I've been doing a lot of thinking. About us, about our marriage, about everything." He paused, waiting for me to react, to beg, to cry. I gave him nothing. "I think we've grown apart. I think we want different things. And with everything that's happening with your health," here it comes, "I think it's best if we end this. I've already spoken to a lawyer. These are divorce papers." He slid the envelope across the table toward me. I didn't touch it, just looked at him. At this man I'd given 15 years of my life to. This man I'd built everything for. This man who was choosing the moment of my cancer diagnosis to abandon me. "Okay," I said. He blinked. Clearly, that wasn't the response he expected. "Okay? You want a divorce. I heard you." "Carmen, I know this is a lot to take in." "It is. But if that's what you want, Derek, I'm not going to beg you to stay." Something flickered across his face. Disappointment? He'd wanted drama. He'd wanted me to fall apart so he could look like the reasonable one. I wasn't giving him that. "There are some things we need to discuss," he continued, recovering quickly. "About the house, the assets. I think it's best if you move out. I'll stay here. You can go stay with your mother while you focus on your treatment." And there it was, the real agenda. "You want me to move out of my house. Our house, Carmen. And yes, I think it's for the best. This house that I bought with my grandmother's inheritance." His jaw tightened. "We've been married 15 years. That makes it community property." Wrong. So wrong. But I didn't correct him. "And the cars, the bank accounts? We'll split everything fairly. My lawyer has drawn up a proposed settlement. I think you'll find it reasonable." Reasonable. He thought taking everything I'd built was reasonable. "I see." He leaned forward, trying to look sympathetic. "Carmen, I know this is hard, but with your diagnosis, you need to focus on getting better. You don't need the stress of maintaining this house, managing all these finances. Let me take care of things. You just focus on your health." The audacity, the absolute audacity of this man. He was trying to take my house, my money, my security, and frame it as doing me a favor, like he was being the good guy, like he was protecting me. I wanted to laugh. I wanted to flip that table over and tell him exactly what I knew. Every affair, every lie, every stolen dollar. But I didn't, because that wasn't part of the plan. "I need time to think about this," I said instead. "This is a lot to process. The cancer, now this." "Of course, take a few days. But Carmen, I do need you to start packing. I've already made arrangements for the next phase." The next phase, meaning Brittany, meaning moving his 28-year-old girlfriend into my home. "How long do I have?" 3 days should be enough. You don't have that many things, really. We can have a moving company come for the furniture later." 3 days to pack up 15 years of my life, while fighting cancer so his mistress could move into my bed. 3 days, I repeated. "I think that's fair." Fair. Nothing about this was fair, but he was about to find out what fair really looked like. I heard footsteps on the stairs. Mother Gloria appeared in the doorway, her face a mask of fake concern. "Carmen, honey, I heard. I'm so sorry about all of this." She wasn't sorry. She knew. Probably had known about Brittany for years. Probably encouraged it. "It's for the best, really," she continued, moving to stand beside her son. "You need to take care of yourself. This is too much house for you to manage while you're sick. Derek and I will be fine here." Derek and I. Like I was the visitor. Like this wasn't my home that I'd paid for while she contributed absolutely nothing. And Mother Gloria added, if you need any help packing, I'm sure Patricia can come by. She's very organized. Patricia, who owed me $15,000. She was going to help me pack so I could leave my own home. The absurdity almost made me laugh. Almost. That's kind of you, Gloria, I said, my voice steady, but I think I can manage. I stood up from the table, picked up the envelope without opening it. I'm going to bed. We can discuss details tomorrow. I walked toward the stairs. Derek called after me. Carmen? I know this is hard, but it's for the best. You'll see. I stopped, turned to look at him one more time. You're right, Derek. I will see. Something in my tone made him frown, but he shook it off. He was too confident, too sure of himself, too convinced that I was the helpless wife he'd always thought I was. I went upstairs to the guest bedroom. Not our master bedroom, where I hadn't slept in months. Derek had basically taken that over with his "I don't want to disturb you" routine. I closed the door, locked it, sat on the edge of the bed, and then I pulled out my phone and made a call. Vanessa, it's Carmen. He did it. He served me divorce papers tonight. My attorney's voice was calm, professional. Okay, are you all right? I'm better than all right. I'm ready. Good. First thing tomorrow morning, you come to my office. We're filing our counterpetition. And Carmen? Yes? Everything we've been preparing for 3 years? It's time. I hung up the phone and looked around the room. This house that I bought, this life that I built, this man who thought he could take it all. Derek gave me 3 days to leave. In 3 days, he was going to find out what happens when you underestimate a woman who's been preparing for war. He thought I was weak. He thought I was sick. He thought I was beaten. He was about to learn the truth. I wasn't dying. I was just getting started. The next morning, I didn't go to work. I called in sick for the first time in 3 years. Then I made another call. Jackie, I need you. Can you meet me at your office in an hour? Bring Denise and Vanessa if they can come. Carmen, what's wrong? Is it the cancer? No, it's Derek. He filed for divorce last night. There was a pause. Then Jackie's voice came back, hard as steel. I'll have everyone there in 45 minutes. We're ending this today. That's my girl. I showered, got dressed, and drove to Jackie's accounting firm downtown. She has a beautiful office on the 5th floor of a building in Midtown. When I walked in, they were all already there, my sister circle, the women who had held me together for the past 3 years while I waited for this moment. Jackie was behind her desk, already pulling up files on her computer. Denise was sitting on the couch with a notepad, ready to take notes, and Vanessa, my attorney, was standing by the window with a folder in her hands. Sit down, Carmen, Jackie said. Tell us everything. So I did. I told them about the diagnosis, about coming home and hearing Derek on the phone with Brittany, about his fake sympathy, about the divorce papers, about his demand that I leave my own house in 3 days. When I finished, the room was silent. Denise spoke first. That no-good, trifling, sorry excuse for a man. After everything you've done for him? It's worse than trifling, Vanessa said. It's calculated. He waited until you were at your most vulnerable to strike. He thinks you're too sick to fight back. He thinks wrong, Jackie said. She turned her computer monitor so we could all see. Carmen, you remember 3 years ago when we started documenting everything? Well, let me show you what we've got. What came next was beautiful. 3 years of meticulous work, laid out in spreadsheets and folders and files. First, the finances, Jackie began. I've been tracking every dollar in and out of your accounts since you first came to me. Over the past 15 years of marriage, you deposited $847,000 into joint accounts. You know how much Derek deposited? $19,000 total in 15 years. She pulled up another spreadsheet. Now, let's talk about what he took. Over the past 3 years alone, Derek withdrew $182,000 from your joint accounts. He claimed it was for business expenses, but we traced every dollar. Rent payments for Brittany's apartment, jewelry, designer clothes, trips to Miami, Vegas, the Bahamas, all with your money. Denise shook her head. Lord have mercy. It gets worse, Jackie continued. He opened credit cards in his name only, but the bills were going to a P.O. box you didn't know about. $93,000 in debt. And guess what he was buying? More gifts for Brittany. A Rolex watch, Louis Vuitton bags. He even paid for her car. I already knew most of this, but hearing it laid out so clearly, so completely, still made my stomach turn. All those years I worked double shifts. All those nights I came home exhausted. And he was spending my money on another woman. Now the assets, Jackie said, switching to another screen. The house on Maple Drive is in your name only. Your grandmother's inheritance paid the down payment. The mortgage has been paid from your account with your money for 15 years. That house is your separate property under Georgia law. He thinks it's community property, I said. He thinks he's entitled to half. Vanessa stepped forward. He's wrong. Georgia is an equitable distribution state, but inheritance and property purchased with separate funds remain separate, especially when he contributed nothing to the payments. That house is yours, Carmen, 100%. What about the other house, I asked, the one Mother Gloria lives in? Jackie smiled. Also in your name. You bought it 8 years ago, so she'd have somewhere to live. Derek convinced you to put it in your name for tax purposes. Best decision you ever made. That property is worth $320,000, and it's all yours. The cars? Both in your name, both purchased with your credit, both paid off with your money. Yours. His retirement accounts? What retirement accounts? Jackie laughed. The man hasn't contributed to a 401k in 6 years. He cashed out his old one to fund one of his failed business ventures. But you've got $430,000 in retirement savings, all in your name. I sat back in my chair. For 3 years, I had been gathering this information piece by piece, but seeing it all together, seeing the complete picture of what I had built and what he had stolen, was overwhelming. Vanessa came and sat next to me. Carmen, here's what you need to understand. Derek thinks he's about to take half of everything, but the truth is, he owns almost nothing. The house is yours, the cars are yours, the retirement is yours. The only things he has are debts and a girlfriend. What about the affair? Denise asked. Doesn't adultery matter in Georgia? It does, Vanessa said. Georgia is one of the few states where adultery can affect alimony and property division. And we don't just have suspicions, we have proof. She opened the folder she'd been holding. Lorraine, the private investigator Carmen hired 3 years ago, documented everything. 417 visits to Brittany's apartment, hotel receipts, restaurant bills, photos of them together, text messages, emails. We even have recorded phone conversations where Derek talks about leaving Carmen and taking her assets. She pulled out a stack of photographs. Derek and Brittany kissing in a parking lot, walking into a hotel together, holding hands at a restaurant. The evidence was overwhelming. But here's the best part, Vanessa continued. Derek doesn't know any of this exists. He thinks Carmen has been too busy and too tired to notice anything. He thinks he's been careful. He has no idea that every move he's made for the past 3 years has been documented. Jackie leaned forward. So, what's the plan? Vanessa stood up and walked to the whiteboard on Jackie's wall. She picked up a marker and started writing. Step 1. We file a counter-petition for divorce today. Not just responding to his filing, but filing our own petition on grounds of adultery, financial misconduct, and hidden assets. She wrote it down. Step 2. We file an emergency motion to freeze all accounts. Every bank account, every credit card, every investment. He can't move any more money. Step 3. We file for exclusive possession of the marital residence. That's the house on Maple Drive. Since it's in Carmen's name and she's the one who paid for it, she should be the one living there, not him. Step 4. We request a restraining order, not for physical abuse, but for financial abuse. We ask the court to prevent him from disposing of any assets pending the divorce. Step 5. We report him to the state bar. I looked up. The state bar? Vanessa nodded. Derek is a licensed attorney in Georgia. What he's done, hiding assets from his wife, diverting marital funds to a mistress. That's not just divorce court stuff. That's potentially criminal, and it's definitely a violation of professional ethics. The state bar takes these things very seriously. You want to go after his law license? I want to go after everything he has, Vanessa said. He tried to destroy you, Carmen. He waited until you had cancer to abandon you. He planned to take your house, your money, your security. He wanted to leave you with nothing while you fought for your life. She looked me straight in the eye. So yes, we're going after his law license. We're going after the house. We're going after every dollar he stole. By the time this is over, Derek James won't have a career, a home, or a penny to his name. The room was quiet for a moment. Then Denise spoke. Sounds like a plan to me. Jackie nodded. What do you need from me? I need you to compile all the financial evidence into a formal report, Vanessa said. Bank statements, transaction records, everything. I want it organized and ready to present to a judge. She turned to Denise. Can you be available as a character witness? You've known Carmen for 20 years. You've seen how hard she works, how much she sacrifices. The court needs to hear that. Absolutely, Denise said. Whatever you need. Finally, Vanessa looked at me. Carmen, I need you to be strong. What's about to happen is going to be ugly. Derek is not going to go quietly. When he finds out what we have on him, he's going to fight dirty. His family is going to attack you. People at church might take his side. Are you ready for that? I thought about all the years I had carried that man, all the years I had sacrificed, all the years I had smiled and pretended everything was fine while he lied to my face and spent my money on another woman. I thought about the cancer growing in my body, the battle I was about to fight just to stay alive, the surgery and chemotherapy waiting for me. And I thought about what Derek said, that I should pack up and leave, that his girlfriend would move into my house, that I should just go away and die quietly. I'm ready, I said. Let's destroy him. Vanessa smiled. Then let's get to work. We moved fast. By noon that same day, Vanessa had filed everything. The counterpetition for divorce hit the court first. Grounds: adultery, financial misconduct, and dissipation of marital assets. The filing included a summary of Derek's affair, the money he had stolen, and the secret accounts he had hidden. The emergency motion to freeze accounts went in right after. Every bank account connected to Derek or me was now locked down. No withdrawals, no transfers, no hiding money. We also filed for exclusive possession of the house. My house, the one I bought with my grandmother's money and paid for with my salary for 15 years. And finally, we filed a complaint with the Georgia State Bar. Attorney Derek James, accused of financial misconduct, hiding assets from his spouse, and using marital funds for personal affairs. The bar would investigate, and if they found what we knew they would find, his license to practice law would be suspended, maybe permanently. I was at Mama's house when Derek found out. I'd gone there straight from Jackie's office. Mama made me lunch, fussed over me about eating enough, and held my hand while I told her everything. Baby, I've been waiting for this day, Mama said. I never liked that man, but you loved him, so I kept my mouth shut. Now I can say it. Derek James is a snake, and you're about to cut his head off. My phone rang around 2 o'clock. It was Derek. I let it ring 3 times before I answered. Hello? What did you do? His voice was shaking. I'd never heard him sound like that before. Not angry. Scared. What do you mean? Don't play games with me, Carmen. I tried to transfer money this morning and the account is frozen. I called the bank and they said there's a court order. What the hell did you do? I kept my voice calm, steady. I filed for divorce, Derek, just like you wanted. You filed a counter-petition with accusations of adultery? Are you insane? I'm not insane. I'm informed. There's a difference. You can't prove any of that. You have no evidence. This is just you being spiteful because I want out of this marriage. I almost laughed. He really thought I had nothing. He really believed he'd been careful enough. Derek, I have everything. Every text message, every hotel receipt, every photo of you and Brittany, every dollar you transferred to her account. I've been documenting for 3 years. Silence on the other end. I could hear him breathing, processing. That's impossible. You couldn't have. 417 times. That's how many times you visited her apartment. I have dates, times, and photographs. I know about the credit cards you opened in secret, the $93,000 in debt, the trips to Miami and Vegas that you told me were business meetings. More silence. I also know about the house on Maple Drive. You know, the one you think is community property? It's not. It's in my name, paid for with my inheritance and my income. You have no claim to it. Carmen, listen to me. No, you listen to me. You gave me 3 days to pack up and leave my own house. You thought I was going to crawl away and die quietly so your girlfriend could move in. You miscalculated. I could hear him scrambling now. His voice got higher, desperate. We can work this out. We don't need lawyers. Let's just sit down and talk like adults. You had 15 years to talk to me like an adult. You chose to cheat instead. There's nothing left to discuss. Carmen, please. I made mistakes, I know that. But we can fix this, for the sake of our marriage. Our marriage ended 3 years ago when you started sleeping with a 25-year-old. I just didn't tell you I knew. He went quiet again. When he spoke, his voice was cold. The mask was back. You're going to regret this. You think you have everything figured out, but you don't. I'm a lawyer, Carmen. I know how to fight in court. And I'm going to destroy you. You already tried to destroy me, Derek. You failed. I hung up. The next few days were chaos, but it was the good kind of chaos, the kind where everything is falling apart for the people who deserve it. First, Derek tried to get into the house. He still had his key, but I'd had a locksmith come that morning and change all the locks. He called me, screaming, "You changed the locks? That's illegal. This is my house, too." Actually, it's not. Check the deed, and check the court order. I've been granted exclusive possession pending the divorce. You're not allowed on the property. Where am I supposed to live? That sounds like a personal problem. I hung up again. It felt good. Then the bank called him, or rather their lawyers called him. When we froze the accounts, Derek had about $1,200 in his personal checking. That was it. All the joint accounts were locked. The credit cards were frozen. He couldn't access anything. He tried to call Brittany for help. I know because Lorraine, my private investigator, was still watching. She sent me photos of Derek showing up at Brittany's apartment, looking disheveled and panicked. Whatever he told her, it wasn't good. Because 2 days later, Lorraine sent me another photo. Brittany loading boxes into a car, moving out. The girlfriend was running. Turns out Brittany didn't know the truth. She thought Derek was a successful lawyer who was leaving his boring wife for her. She thought they were going to live in my beautiful house and spend all my money. When she found out that Derek was broke, that the house wasn't his, that he might lose his law license, she was gone. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. But she knew he was married. She knew he was lying to his wife. Whatever sympathy I might have had disappeared a long time ago. Then came the state bar. Vanessa had filed the complaint on Friday. By Monday, an investigator called Derek requesting documents, bank statements, tax returns, client files. They were looking into whether he had mishandled funds, whether his personal financial misconduct reflected on his fitness to practice law. Derek tried to call me again after that. His voice was different this time, not angry, pleading. "Carmen, you have to drop the bar complaint. You're trying to ruin my career. Without my license, I can't work. I can't pay child support. I can't pay alimony. You're hurting yourself here." "We don't have children, Derek. And alimony? After the way you've handled money, no court is going to order me to pay you anything. If anything, they might order you to pay me. You stole from me, remember?" "I didn't steal. That was marital money. Money that you spent on your girlfriend while telling me we couldn't afford a vacation. Money that you used to pay her rent while your mother lived in my house for free. Money that you burned through while I worked 70-hour weeks to keep us afloat. He had no response to that. I'm not dropping anything, I said. You made your choices. Now live with the consequences. I hung up one more time. It was becoming a habit. The best part came on Wednesday. I got a call from the court. The judge had reviewed our emergency motions and made his rulings. Exclusive possession of the house, granted to Carmen James. Freeze on all marital accounts, granted. Preliminary restraining order preventing Derek from disposing of assets, granted. And here's the part that really got me. The judge had read our evidence, all of it. The photos, the financial records, the proof of the affair. And he had added something on his own. He scheduled an emergency hearing for the following week. He wanted to see both parties. He wanted to hear testimony, and he wanted to discuss potential sanctions for what he called egregious financial misconduct. Vanessa called me as soon as she got the news. Carmen, this is better than I expected. The judge is taking this seriously. He's seen the evidence, and he's angry. I've been doing divorces for 15 years, and I've never seen a judge move this fast. What does this mean? It means Derek is in serious trouble. If the judge finds that he deliberately dissipated marital assets, he could order Derek to reimburse you. Not 50%, all of it, plus penalties. And the house? The house is already yours, but the judge might also address Mother Gloria. She's living in a property you own. If you want her out, we can file for eviction. Mother Gloria. I'd been trying not to think about her, but she had known about Brittany. She had encouraged her son to leave me. She had stood in my kitchen and told me to pack my bag so I could go die somewhere else. File for eviction, I said. She has 30 days to find somewhere else to live. There was a pause on the line. Then Vanessa spoke softly. Are you sure? She's elderly. She might try to get sympathy from the judge. She's been living in my house for 10 years without paying a dime. She's treated me like a servant. She knew her son was cheating and said nothing. And when I got cancer, she helped him try to throw me out. I took a breath. File the eviction. She can go live with Patricia or one of her other 4 children, but she's not staying in my house. Understood. I'll file it today. Everything was falling into place. Every piece of the case I'd been building for 3 years was coming together. Derek was cornered. His girlfriend was gone. His money was frozen. His career was in jeopardy. His mother was about to be homeless. And me? I was just getting started. But I couldn't forget the other battle I was fighting, the one inside my own body. Surgery was coming, then chemotherapy. I was about to fight cancer while fighting for everything I owned. Some women might have felt overwhelmed. Some might have given up. Not me. Because here's what Derek never understood about me. I didn't survive 15 years of carrying his family by being weak. I survived by being strong. Stronger than anyone knew. Stronger than even I knew. And if I could carry all of them for all those years, I could certainly carry myself through this. Mother Gloria got the eviction notice on a Thursday morning. I wasn't there, but Denise was. She'd volunteered to deliver it personally, along with a sheriff's deputy for legal purposes. She called me right after. Girl, you should have seen her face. She opened that door thinking it was the mailman. When she saw the deputy, I thought she was going to faint. What did she say? At first, nothing. She just stood there, reading the paper over and over like she couldn't believe it. Then she looked at the deputy and said, There must be some mistake. This is my house. What did he say? He told her to check the deed, said the property is in your name and has been for 8 years, said she has 30 days to vacate or she'll be removed by force. I closed my eyes. Part of me, a small part, felt guilty. Mother Gloria was 68 years old. She'd been living in that house for a decade. It was the only home she knew. But then I remembered all the things she'd said about me, all the times she criticized my cooking, my cleaning, my work schedule. The way she told church ladies I wasn't good enough for her son. The way she stood beside Derek when he handed me those divorce papers and told me it was for the best. The guilt faded fast. "What happened after that?" I asked. She tried to call Derek, but I guess he didn't answer. Then she started yelling at me, calling you all kinds of names I won't repeat. Said you were evil, said you were trying to destroy her family, said she knew you were trouble from the day Derek brought you home. Did she mention the cancer? Nope, not once. Didn't ask how you're doing, didn't send any prayers, just talked about how mean you are for taking away her house. That told me everything I needed to know about Mother Gloria. After all those years of me taking care of her, paying her bills, driving her to appointments, cooking her meals, she couldn't spare a single thought for my health. All she cared about was herself. Where's she going to go? She said she was calling Patricia. Guess they're going to be roommates now. Good. Let them comfort each other. Let them both figure out how to live without Carmen's money. Patricia didn't take the news well either. She called me that same afternoon, furious. "Carmen, what is wrong with you? You're throwing Mama Gloria out on the street." She has 30 days to find new arrangements, and she has 4 other children besides Derek. I'm sure one of them can take her in. You know none of them have room. That's why she's been living with you. No, Patricia. She's been living with me because I'm the one who bought her a house, with my money, while her own children, including you, contributed nothing. That's not fair. I've been going through a hard time, you know that. You've been going through a hard time for 15 years, and every time you came to me with your hand out. Well, the bank is closed. Speaking of which, I need to borrow $200. My electric bill is due, and I laughed. I couldn't help it. The audacity was almost impressive. Patricia, you owe me over $15,000. You've never paid back a single cent, and you're calling to ask for more? This is an emergency. Every week with you is an emergency. The answer is no. And if you don't pay back what you owe, I'm taking you to small claims court. She gasped like I'd slapped her. You would sue your own family? You're not my family anymore. Derek made sure of that when he tried to steal my house and move his girlfriend in. And you? You've been taking advantage of me for years. It stops now. I hung up before she could respond. Another call I ended on my terms. It was becoming my new favorite thing. But the fallout wasn't limited to Derek's family. Word spreads fast in a church community, and our church was no exception. That Sunday, I didn't go to service. I was too tired, too stressed, and too focused on preparing for my surgery the following week. But my mama went, and she came back with stories. "Baby, you should have heard them," Mama said, sitting at my kitchen table with a cup of tea. Derek was there, looking pitiful. Had on a wrinkled suit, eyes all red like he'd been crying, sitting in the front pew like he wanted everyone to see how sad he was. What was he saying? He told Pastor Williams that you abandoned him, said you changed the locks and kicked him out of his own home, said you're trying to destroy him because you're bitter about your health situation. My health situation. Like cancer was just an inconvenience, like I was using it as an excuse. What did Pastor Williams say? Mama's expression soured. He prayed for reconciliation, asked the congregation to support Brother Derek in his time of trial, even suggested that I should talk to you about being more forgiving. I shook my head. Pastor Williams has always liked Derek. They golf together. Golf doesn't make a man a good Christian, and it doesn't excuse what Derek did. But Mama wasn't done with her report. Not everyone was on his side, though. Mother Ernestine pulled me aside after service. She's been watching that marriage of yours for years. She told me, "Ruth, you tell Carmen to stay strong. Some of us see the truth, and God sees everything." Mother Ernestine, 75 years old, been at that church since before I was born. She was an elder, respected by everyone. If she was on my side, that meant something. She also told me she's been watching Derek for a while now. Said she saw him at a restaurant downtown with a young woman a few months back. Said she knew then that something was wrong. Why didn't she say anything? Mama shrugged. What could she say? I think your husband is cheating? Without proof, it's just gossip. But she told me she prayed for you every night, prayed for your strength. Someone had been praying for me. That hit me harder than I expected. All those years feeling alone, feeling invisible, and there was an old church mother keeping me in her prayers. Mother Ernestine also said she wants to talk to you, said she might know some people who can help, lawyers, accountants, people who've been through divorces. I smiled. Tell her thank you, but I have all the help I need. The week before my surgery was the hardest. Not because of the divorce, that was moving forward exactly as planned, but because my body was reminding me that I was sick, really sick. I had to go for more tests, preoperative blood work, consultations with the surgeon, meetings with the oncologist to discuss what would come after. Every day was another appointment, another doctor, another reminder that cancer was trying to kill me, and I was going through it mostly alone. Jackie came when she could. Denise took time off work to drive me to a couple of appointments, but at the end of the day, I was the one sitting in those waiting rooms. I was the one changing into paper gowns. I was the one hearing words like tumor and lymph nodes and survival rates. The night before my surgery, I lay in bed at my mama's house staring at the ceiling. I'd moved in with her temporarily while the divorce was pending. My house on Maple Drive was technically mine, but Derek was still fighting the exclusive possession order. Until the emergency hearing, I didn't want to be anywhere near him. Mama came and sat on the edge of my bed. She didn't say anything at first, just held my hand. "You scared, baby?" I nodded. There was no point in lying to her. "Me too," she said. "But you know what? Fear never stopped you before. You've been afraid plenty of times in your life, and you always pushed through." "This is different, Mama. This is cancer." "I know what it is. I watched my sister go through it. You remember Aunt Vera?" I nodded. Aunt Vera had breast cancer when I was in high school. She'd survived, beat it, and lived another 20 years before passing peacefully in her sleep. Vera was scared too, but she told me something I never forgot. She said, "Ruth, cancer might be in my body, but it doesn't get to live in my mind. I'm not going to spend whatever time I have left being afraid. I'm going to spend it living." I felt tears on my cheeks. I didn't bother wiping them away. "You're stronger than cancer, Carmen. You're stronger than Derek. You're stronger than that whole sorry family of his. And tomorrow, when they put you under for that surgery, you know what I'm going to do?" "What?" "I'm going to sit in that waiting room and pray. And I'm going to tell God to take good care of my baby girl because she's got too much fight left in her to quit now." I squeezed her hand. "I love you, Mama." "I love you too, baby. Now get some sleep. You've got a long day tomorrow, and after that, you've got a courtroom to conquer." She kissed my forehead and left the room. I closed my eyes and tried to sleep. Tomorrow, they would cut the cancer out of my body, and next week, I would cut Derek out of my life. Both surgeries were long overdue. The surgery lasted 4 hours. I don't remember any of it, of course. Just the bright lights of the operating room, the mask coming down over my face, and then nothing. When I woke up, Mama was there. So was Jackie and Denise, my sister circle, surrounding my hospital bed like a protective wall. "Hey, baby," Mama said softly. "You're okay. The surgery went well." I tried to speak, but my throat was dry. Jackie handed me some ice chips. "The surgeon got clear margins," Denise said. She'd been talking to the medical team, using her nursing background to translate. "That means they got all the tumor they could see. Your lymph nodes did have some cancer, but they removed those too." "What does that mean?" I managed to whisper. "It means we caught it in time. The next step is chemotherapy to kill any cells they might have missed. But Carmen, the surgeon said he's optimistic. You're going to fight this, and you're going to win." I closed my eyes and let the tears fall. Not sad tears, relieved tears. I had been so afraid that I would wake up to bad news, that the cancer had spread further than they thought, that there was nothing they could do. But I was still here, still fighting. The recovery was brutal. I spent a week in the hospital, then 2 more weeks at Mama's house, barely able to get out of bed. My chest was wrapped in bandages. My body was weak. Every movement hurt. But even from my sickbed, I was working on the case. Vanessa came by every few days with updates. The emergency hearing had been postponed while I recovered, but she'd been busy. More evidence had come in, more discoveries about Derek's financial schemes. He tried to hide more money, Vanessa told me during one of her visits. Right after we froze the accounts, he went to one of his friends and asked him to hold some cash. $20,000 he had stashed in a safety deposit box we didn't know about. How did you find out? The friend got scared. He's a lawyer too, you know. When he heard about the state bar investigation, he didn't want any part of it. He contacted us and turned over the money, along with a statement about what Derek asked him to do. I shook my head. Even now, even after everything, Derek was still trying to cheat. What happens now? Now we add attempted concealment of assets to the list. The judge is not going to be happy. 2 weeks after my surgery, chemotherapy started. I won't lie to you, it was hell. They put me in a chair in the oncology center, stuck an IV in my arm, and pumped poison into my body. Poison that was supposed to kill the cancer, but it felt like it was killing everything else too. The nausea hit first, waves of it, so powerful I could barely lift my head. Then the fatigue, exhaustion so deep that walking to the bathroom felt like running a marathon. And then, about 2 weeks into treatment, my hair started falling out. I remember standing in front of the mirror at Mama's house, holding clumps of my hair in my hands. Hair I had been growing for years. Hair I had styled and braided and taken care of. Gone. Just like that. I cried. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I stood there and cried until I had nothing left. And then I called Jackie. "Come over," I said. "Bring your clippers. We're shaving it all off." She didn't ask why. She just came. We sat on Mama's back porch as the sun went down. Jackie draped a towel over my shoulders and turned on the clippers. And piece by piece, she shaved away what was left of my hair. When she was done, I ran my hand over my smooth head. It felt strange, vulnerable, like I was exposed to the world. "You look beautiful," Jackie said. "I look like an egg," she laughed. "Girl, you look like a warrior, a bald, beautiful, cancer-fighting warrior." Mama brought out a mirror. I looked at myself, at my smooth head, at the dark circles under my eyes, at the weight I had lost. I didn't recognize the woman staring back at me, but I knew her. I had always known her. She was the woman who survived. No matter what life threw at her, no matter what, she survived. The emergency hearing came on a Wednesday, about a month after my surgery. I was between chemotherapy treatments, weak but determined. Jackie drove me to the courthouse. Vanessa met us outside. "Are you sure you're up for this?" she asked. "We could ask for another postponement." "No more postponements. I want this done." We walked into the courtroom together. I was wearing a simple dress, a head wrap, and no makeup. I looked like exactly what I was, a woman fighting cancer while fighting for her life. Derek was already there with his attorney. He looked worse than the last time I'd seen him. His suit was wrinkled. He'd lost weight. His eyes had a desperate, haunted look. Good. The judge entered and took his seat. He was an older man, silver-haired, with reading glasses perched on his nose. He looked through the files in front of him, then looked up at both parties. "This is an emergency hearing regarding the dissolution of the marriage between Carmen James and Derek James. I've reviewed all the submitted documents. Before we begin, I want to say something." He took off his glasses and rubbed his eyes. "In 20 years on the bench, I've seen a lot of divorces. Some amicable, some contentious, some downright ugly. But this case has evidence of financial misconduct on a scale I rarely see." He looked directly at Derek. "Mr. James, you are an attorney. You know what's acceptable behavior and what isn't. The evidence before me suggests that you systematically diverted marital assets for your personal use while your wife worked to support the household. Is there anything you'd like to say before we proceed?" Derek's lawyer stood up. "Your Honor, my client admits to certain lapses in judgment, but Lapses in judgment, the judge's voice sharpened. Sir, I have documentation of $180,000 withdrawn from joint accounts and used to support an extramarital relationship. I have evidence of secret credit cards with nearly $100,000 in debt. I have testimony from a colleague that your client attempted to hide additional funds after the accounts were frozen. These are not lapses in judgment. These are patterns of deception. The lawyer sat down. Derek looked like he wanted to disappear. Vanessa stood. Your Honor, we appreciate the court's attention to these matters. Ms. James is here today seeking final resolution of the property issues and formal separation from Mr. James. The judge nodded. Let's go through the assets one by one. What followed was a complete dismantling of everything Derek thought he was entitled to. The house on Maple Drive? Clearly the separate property of Mrs. James, purchased with inheritance funds, deed in her name only, all mortgage payments from her personal income. Mr. James has no claim. The house where Mother Gloria was living? Also in Mrs. James's name. She purchased it, she maintains it, she pays the property taxes. If she wants to evict the current occupant, she has every right to do so. The vehicles? Both in Mrs. James's name. Both purchased with her credit, both belong to her. The retirement accounts? Mrs. James contributed 93% of all retirement savings. Given Mr. James's financial misconduct, the court awards 100% to Mrs. James. The bank accounts? After accounting for the funds Mr. James improperly withdrew, the remaining balance should be divided. But Mr. James's share will be offset by restitution owed to Mrs. James. By the end of the hearing, Derek had nothing. Literally nothing. Every asset went to me. Every property, every account. The judge even ordered Derek to pay back the money he had stolen, plus interest. And then came the final blow. I've also reviewed the complaint filed with the Georgia State Bar, the judge said. While that's outside my direct jurisdiction, I want the record to reflect that Mr. James's behavior in this matter raises serious questions about his fitness to practice law. I will be forwarding my findings to the bar for their consideration. Derek made a sound, a small, broken sound, like something inside him had finally cracked. I felt nothing. No sympathy, no satisfaction, just relief. It was finally over. The judge signed the orders. The marriage was officially dissolved. Everything was mine. We walked out of that courtroom into the bright afternoon sun. Jackie was there, waiting. So was Mama and Denise. They surrounded me with hugs and tears and praise. You did it, baby, Mama said. You won. We did it, I said. All of us together. Vanessa shook my hand. You were remarkable in there, strong and dignified. The judge noticed. That's part of why he ruled the way he did. What happens now? Now Derek has 30 days to vacate any property in your name. He has to pay restitution on a schedule we'll work out, and the State Bar will probably complete their investigation within the next few months. His law license? Based on what the judge found, I'd be surprised if he's still practicing by the end of the year. I nodded. 3 years ago, I started building a case against the man who betrayed me. Today, that case was complete. Derek James had tried to take everything I owned while I was fighting for my life. Instead, he lost everything he had. Some people might call that karma. I called it justice. But the celebration would have to wait. I still had cancer to fight. More chemotherapy, more sickness, more fear. I looked at my sister circle. These women who had stood by me through everything. Let's go home, I said. I have a treatment tomorrow, and then I have a life to rebuild. Jackie put her arm around me. We'll be there, every step of the way. We walked to the car together. The sun was warm on my bare head. The future was uncertain. But for the first time in years, that future belonged to me, only me, and nobody was ever going to take it from me again. 6 months. That's how long it took for everything to fall into place. 6 months of chemotherapy. 6 months of fighting cancer with everything I had. 6 months of watching my body break down and rebuild itself over and over again. but also 6 months of watching Derek's life crumble into dust. Let me tell you what happened to the man who thought he could throw me away like garbage. The state bar completed their investigation 2 months after the divorce was finalized. Vanessa called me with the news. "It's done, Carmen. They found him guilty of professional misconduct, misappropriation of funds, failure to maintain proper financial records. And get this, they discovered he'd been skimming money from some of his clients too, not just you." What does that mean? It means his license is suspended, effective immediately. He can't practice law in Georgia, and based on the severity of the findings, I doubt he'll ever practice again. Derek James, the man who put himself through law school on my dime, who called himself a successful attorney, who bragged about his career at every dinner party, was done. Finished. His law license, the one thing he actually earned, was gone. But that wasn't all. Remember the money he stole? The $180,000 he spent on Brittany? The judge ordered him to pay it back, with interest, on a payment schedule he couldn't possibly meet now that he couldn't work as a lawyer. He tried to find other work. I heard through the grapevine that he applied to several firms, hoping someone would take a chance on a disgraced attorney. No one did. Word spreads fast in the legal community. Everyone knew what he'd done. Last I heard, he was working at a call center, taking customer service calls for some insurance company, making $15 an hour, living in a studio apartment on the wrong side of town. The Mercedes? Repossessed. He couldn't keep up with the payments. Not that it was ever really his, anyway. That car was in my name, bought with my credit. I could have taken it back myself, but I let the bank do it. Felt more poetic that way. And Brittany? The 28-year-old paralegal who thought she was getting a successful lawyer and a beautiful house? She disappeared. Moved out of state, from what I heard. Probably embarrassed. Probably angry that the life Derek promised her turned out to be built on lies. I don't know where she went, and I don't care. She made her choices. Now she's living with them. Mother Gloria ended up at Patricia's apartment. 2 bedrooms. 2 grown women who can't stand each other, living on top of each other because neither of them had anywhere else to go. Patricia called me once, about a month after Mother Gloria moved in. She was crying. "Carmen, please. Mama Gloria is driving me crazy. She criticizes everything I do. She complains about the food, the cleaning, the noise. I can't take it anymore." I listened. I didn't interrupt. "Can't she come back to the house? Just for a little while, until I can figure something else out." I thought about all the years Mother Gloria lived in my house, rent-free, bill-free, treating me like the help, telling everyone at church that I wasn't good enough for her son. "No," I said. "Carmen, please. Patricia, your mother has 4 other children besides Derek. 4. And for 10 years, I was the only one who took care of her. I paid her bills. I drove her to her appointments. I cooked her meals. I cleaned her bathroom. And you know what she did when I got cancer? She helped her son try to throw me out of my own house." Patricia was quiet. "So no, she can't come back. Ever. You wanted to be family when you needed my money. Now you can be family when your mother needs a place to live. Figure it out." I hung up. Another conversation ended on my terms. The house on Maple Drive was mine again. After the divorce was finalized, Derek had 30 days to remove his belongings. He didn't take much. Mostly clothes and personal items. Everything else, the furniture, the appliances, the decorations, all of it had been bought with my money anyway. I walked through that house on the day he moved out, room by room, remembering everything that had happened within those walls, the arguments, the lies, the nights I spent alone while he was with her. But also the good memories, the early years when I still believed we were building something together, the holidays with friends, the quiet Sunday mornings. I stood in the master bedroom, the room I hadn't slept in for months because Derek had claimed it as his own, the room where he probably called Brittany when he thought I was asleep. I opened all the windows, let the fresh air in, let his presence out. Then I called a contractor and told him to gut the whole thing. New paint, new carpet, new fixtures. By the time he was done, there wouldn't be a trace of Derek James left in my house. The other house, the one where Mother Gloria had been living, I sold. Put it on the market 3 months after the divorce. Got a good price, too. $340,000. I thought about what to do with that money for a long time. Part of me wanted to spend it on something extravagant, a vacation, a new car, something to celebrate my victory. But that's not who I am. I put most of it into savings, started a college fund for Jackie's daughter, made a donation to the oncology center that was treating me, and I set aside some for something special, something I'll tell you about later. The church situation was complicated. After the divorce became public, people took sides. Some believed Derek's story about me being bitter and vindictive. They whispered when I walked by, stopped inviting me to events. But others saw the truth. Mother Ernestine was the first to reach out. "Carmen, honey," she said after service one Sunday, "you come sit with me. Don't pay any attention to those fools who don't know any better. God knows your heart, and so do I." She became my ally at church, my protector. When people tried to gossip about me, she shut them down. "You don't know what that woman went through," she'd say. "You don't know what he did to her. So keep your mouth shut and your prayers focused where they belong." Slowly, people started coming around. They heard the truth about Derek, about the affair, about the stolen money, about how he tried to leave me when I had cancer. One by one, they started approaching me with apologies. "Carmen, I had no idea. I'm so sorry I judged you. Carmen, I heard what really happened. That man should be ashamed of himself. Carmen, you're so strong. I don't know how you did it." I accepted their apologies graciously, but I also kept my distance. I had learned who my real friends were, and they weren't the people who only came around after the truth was convenient. Pastor Williams never apologized. He just pretended like nothing had happened, kept preaching about forgiveness and reconciliation, looking at me when he said it. I let him look. I wasn't there for him. I was there for God, and God and I had our own understanding. The best part of those months was watching myself heal, not just from the divorce, from the cancer. Chemotherapy ended 4 months after my surgery. The final treatment was on a Thursday. Jackie drove me to the oncology center, held my hand while they put the IV in, and stayed with me until it was done. When the last drop of medicine entered my body, the nurses applauded. It's a tradition they have there, ringing a bell when patients finish treatment. I rang that bell so hard they probably heard it in the parking lot. 2 weeks later, I went for my follow-up scans. This was the moment of truth. The doctors would look at my body and tell me if the cancer was still there. I sat in Dr. Patterson's office waiting for the results. My hands were shaking. My heart was pounding. Everything I had been through, the surgery, the chemo, the divorce, all of it came down to this moment. Dr. Patterson walked in with a folder. She was smiling. "Carmen," she said, "I have good news." I held my breath. "Your scans are clear. No evidence of disease. The cancer is in remission." I broke down right there in her office, crying so hard I couldn't speak, crying for all the fear I had carried, crying for all the pain I had endured, crying because I was going to live. Dr. Patterson let me cry. When I finally calmed down, she handed me a tissue. "You're not out of the woods completely," she said. "We'll need to monitor you closely for the next few years. Regular scans, regular checkups. But Carmen, you beat this. You fought and you won." I wiped my eyes. "Thank you for everything." "Don't thank me. You did the hard work. I just helped." I walked out of that office into the bright afternoon sun. Jackie was waiting for me in the parking lot. She took one look at my face and knew. Clear? Clear. She screamed, right there in public, screamed so loud people turned to look. Then she grabbed me and hugged me so tight I couldn't breathe. "I knew it," she said. "I knew you'd beat it. I told everyone. Carmen James doesn't lose. Not to cancer, not to sorry men, not to anything." We stood there hugging for a long time. Two women in a hospital parking lot, crying and laughing and holding on to each other. "What do you want to do now?" Jackie asked. I thought about it, about everything I had been through, about everything I had lost and gained, about the life that was waiting for me. "I want to go home," I said, "my home, and I want to start living again." A year passed, the hardest, most transformative year of my life. My hair grew back, different than before, curlier somehow, softer. Some women who go through chemo say their hair comes back exactly the same. Mine came back like it was making a statement, like it was saying, "We survived something. We're not going to be the same anymore." I let it grow natural. No more straightening, no more hours in the salon trying to look a certain way. Just me, exactly as I am. My body healed too. The surgical scars faded from angry red to soft pink to thin white lines that I could barely see unless I looked for them. I gained back the weight I had lost during treatment, started exercising again, gentle walks at first, then longer ones. My strength returned, slowly, but it returned. And something else came back too, something I had lost long before the cancer, long before the divorce, something Derek and his family had been draining out of me for years, my joy. I woke up one morning, about 8 months after my treatment ended, and I realized I was happy, not just relieved, not just grateful, actually, genuinely happy. I was lying in my bed, in my house, in my room that I had redecorated exactly the way I wanted. The sun was coming through the windows, birds were singing outside, and I was smiling for no reason at all. I couldn't remember the last time that had happened, the last time I felt joy without it being attached to someone else's needs, without feeling guilty for taking a moment for myself. This is what freedom feels like, I thought. This is what I was missing. I started doing things I had always wanted to do, small things at first, taking a pottery class on Saturday mornings, going to the movies by myself in the middle of the day, buying flowers for my house just because they were pretty. Then bigger things. I took a vacation, my first real vacation in over a decade. Jackie, Denise, and I went to Jamaica for a week. We stayed at an all-inclusive resort. We drank cocktails on the beach. We laughed until our stomachs hurt. We danced with strangers who didn't know anything about our lives back home. One night, sitting on the beach watching the sunset, Jackie turned to me. "Carmen, I've known you for over 20 years, and I've never seen you like this." "Like what?" "Free, relaxed, at peace. You used to carry so much tension in your shoulders, I thought you'd snap in half. Now look at you. You're glowing." I thought about what she said. She was right. For years, decades even, I had been carrying everyone. My husband, his mother, his sister, my job, my responsibilities. I had been so busy taking care of everyone else that I forgot how to take care of myself. Not anymore. "I'm done carrying people who don't want to walk on their own," I said. "From now on, I'm only carrying myself." Jackie raised her glass. "I'll drink to that." When I got back from vacation, I made some changes at work, too. I had been killing myself at that hospital for 18 years, 60, 70 hours a week, never saying no, always taking on more. No more. I sat down with my supervisor and told her I was cutting back. No more extra shifts, no more weekend emergencies unless absolutely necessary. I would work my 40 hours, and then I would go home to my life. She looked at me like I had grown a second head. "Carmen, you've always been our most reliable administrator. Are you sure about this?" "I'm sure. I almost died last year, and I realize that this job will replace me in a week if something happens to me. But my life, my health, my happiness, that's irreplaceable. I need to start acting like it." She didn't argue. She knew what I had been through, and honestly, I think she respected me for finally setting boundaries. Something interesting happened after that. My work actually improved because I wasn't exhausted all the time, because I wasn't running on empty. I came in focused, energized, ready to do my job, and when 5 o'clock came, I left. 3 months later, they promoted me. Regional Director of Hospital Administration. More responsibility, yes, but also a better salary, better hours, and a team to delegate to. I wasn't doing everything myself anymore. I was leading others to do their part. Funny how that works. The moment I stopped sacrificing myself, the world started giving me more. My sister circle became even stronger. Every first Sunday of the month, we had brunch together. Jackie, Denise, me, and now Vanessa, too. She had become one of us during the divorce, fought beside me, celebrated with me. She had earned her place. We would meet at a restaurant, order too much food, and talk for hours about life, about love, about everything and nothing. These women had seen me at my lowest. They had helped me climb back up. I would never forget that. Mother Ernestine came to one of our brunches once. She was 90 now, still sharp as ever. She looked around the table at all of us and smiled. "This is what community looks like," she said. "Women lifting each other up, not tearing each other down. This is what God intended." We all got a little teary at that. The financial restitution from Derek came in slowly. He was making payments every month, small ones, from his call center salary. At the rate he was going, it would take him 20 years to pay back what he stole. I didn't need the money, not really. I had my salary, my savings, my properties. I was fine. But I kept every check he sent, deposited every one. Not because I needed it, but because I wanted him to remember. Every month when he wrote that check, I wanted him to think about what he did, about the life he threw away, about the woman he underestimated. Some people said I should forgive him, move on, let go of the anger. And I did let go of the anger. Mostly. I didn't walk around seething about Derek James. I didn't waste my energy hating him. He wasn't worth that much of my time. But forgiveness? That's between him and God. I'm just the woman he wronged. I don't owe him anything, including my forgiveness. I did hear about him from time to time, through the grapevine, through mutual acquaintances. He tried dating again, got on some apps, but word had spread in our community. Women would look him up online, find out about the divorce, the affair, the stolen money, the lost law license. Nobody wanted a man with that kind of history. He showed up at church once, about a year after the divorce, tried to act like nothing had happened, like he could just walk back into the community and start over. Mother Ernestine shut that down immediately. She stood up in the middle of service, pointed her cane at him, and said, "Derek James, you have a lot of nerve showing your face here. You need to make things right with God and the woman you wronged before you set foot in this sanctuary again." He left, never came back. Mother Gloria passed away about 14 months after the divorce. Heart attack. She was 70 years old. Didn't go to the funeral. Some people thought that was cold, but those people didn't know what she had done to me, how she had treated me for a decade, how she had stood beside her son when he tried to throw me out of my own home. I sent flowers. That was enough. Patricia called me after the funeral. She was crying. "Carmen, Mama Gloria talked about you at the end. She said she was sorry. She said she was wrong about you." I listened. I didn't say anything. She wanted me to tell you. She wanted you to know she regretted how she treated you. I thought about that for a moment, about all those years, all those criticisms, all those church gossip sessions where she tore me down. "Thank you for telling me, Patricia. Do you forgive her?" I paused. I'm glad she found peace before she died, but forgiveness isn't something I can give just because someone asks for it. Your mother hurt me for a very long time. Those scars don't disappear because of a deathbed apology. Patricia was silent. "I hope you find healing too," I said. "Goodbye, Patricia." I hung up, and I never spoke to her again. Some people might think I'm harsh, cold, unforgiving. But here's what those people don't understand. I spent 15 years being soft, being kind, being forgiving, and it almost killed me. literally. I'm not angry anymore. I'm not bitter. But I'm also not going to pretend that forgiveness is something I owe to people who never truly apologized, who only felt sorry when they faced consequences. I forgave myself for staying so long. That was the forgiveness that mattered most. It's been 2 years now since that Tuesday when everything changed. 2 years since the cancer diagnosis. 2 years since Derek handed me those divorce papers. 2 years since I decided to stop being everybody's mule and start being my own miracle. Let me tell you where I am today. I'm sitting on the porch of my house, the one I bought with my grandmother's inheritance, the one I paid for with my own money, the one Derek tried to steal from me. It looks different now. Fresh paint, new landscaping, a garden out back that I tend every weekend. I planted roses last spring. They're blooming now, pink and red and yellow, so beautiful it almost hurts to look at them. My hair is past my shoulders now, natural curls that I wear proudly. My body is strong again. I go to the gym 3 times a week, not to lose weight or look a certain way, just because it feels good to move, to feel my muscles work, to remember that this body survived something terrible and came out stronger. I'm cancer-free, 2 years in remission. Every scan comes back clean. Every checkup is a celebration. I don't take a single day for granted anymore. Every morning I wake up is a gift. My career is thriving. Regional director now, overseeing hospital administration for 5 facilities across the state. Good salary, great benefits, a team that respects me. I work hard, but I work smart. No more killing myself for a job that would replace me in a week. My sister circle is stronger than ever. Jackie and I still talk every day. Denise and I take walks together on Saturday mornings. Vanessa has become one of my closest friends. And we still have our monthly brunches. First Sunday every month without fail. Mama is doing well. 81 years old now, still sharp, still sassy, still telling me what to do, even though I'm a grown woman. I see her every week. We cook together, we laugh together, we pray together. And the money I set aside from selling Mother Gloria's house, I used it to start a foundation, a small one, but growing. We help women who are going through what I went through: divorce, financial abuse, health crises. We provide legal assistance, financial counseling, and emotional support. I named it the Ruth Foundation, after my mama, because she taught me that strength isn't about never falling down. It's about getting back up every single time. We've helped 47 women so far. 47 women who were trapped in bad marriages, drained by ungrateful families, fighting battles they thought they couldn't win. We showed them they could. We showed them how. That's my legacy now. Not the years I wasted on Derek, not the money I gave to people who didn't deserve it, but the lives I'm helping to change. Someone asked me recently if I'm dating again. I smiled at that. I'm dating myself, I said, and she's wonderful. It's true. For the first time in my life, I'm learning to be alone. Not lonely, alone. There's a difference. Lonely is painful. Alone is peaceful. I take myself out to dinner. I buy myself flowers. I tell myself I'm beautiful and smart and worthy of love. All the things I used to wait for someone else to say. Will I ever be in another relationship? Maybe. I'm not closed to it. But I'm also not looking for it. I don't need a man to complete me. I'm already complete. And if someone comes along who adds to my life instead of taking from it, who lifts me up instead of weighing me down, who loves me the way I deserve to be loved, then maybe, we'll see. But I will never again lose myself in someone else. I will never again carry people who refuse to walk on their own. I will never again sacrifice my health, my wealth, my peace for someone who wouldn't do the same for me. Derek is still out there somewhere, working his call center job, living in his studio apartment, sending me checks every month that barely make a dent in what he owes. I don't think about him much. He doesn't deserve that much of my mental real estate. When his name comes up, I feel nothing. Not anger, not sadness, not even satisfaction. Just nothing. He's a chapter I closed, a lesson I learned. Nothing more. Sometimes I wonder if he thinks about me, if he regrets what he did, if he looks back on his choices and wishes he had done things differently. Probably, but it's too late for that. Some doors, once closed, don't open again. I want to talk to you now, whoever you are, wherever you are, watching this story. Maybe you're in a situation like I was, carrying everyone, sacrificing everything, giving and giving until there's nothing left to give. Maybe you're married to someone who treats you like I was treated, someone who takes and makes you feel like you should be grateful for the crumbs they leave behind. Maybe you're sick, fighting a battle that feels too big, wondering if you have the strength to keep going. Let me tell you something. You do. You have that strength. It's inside you right now, even if you can't feel it. I didn't know I was strong until I had to be. I didn't know I could fight until I had no choice. I didn't know I could survive until surviving was the only option left. You're stronger than you know, braver than you feel, more capable than anyone has ever given you credit for. Start documenting, start planning, start protecting yourself. Not because you're planning to leave necessarily, but because you deserve to know the truth about your own life. You deserve to have options. You deserve to be prepared. Find your sister circle, those women who will hold you up when you can't stand on your own, who will tell you the truth even when it hurts, who will fight beside you when the battle comes. And most importantly, choose yourself. Finally, completely, unapologetically. You are not here to carry everyone else. You are not here to sacrifice your happiness for people who wouldn't sacrifice anything for you. You are not here to be used up and thrown away. You are here to live, fully, freely, joyfully. Derek gave me 3 days to pack up my life and disappear. He thought I would crawl away and die quietly so he could take everything I built. He was wrong. I didn't disappear. I rose up, I fought back, I won. And now I'm living a life more beautiful than I ever imagined, a life I built for myself, a life that belongs to me. He tried to leave me with nothing. Instead, he left with nothing, and I kept everything. My house, my money, my career, my health, my peace, my joy, my dignity, my soul. Everything. If you're out there carrying people who wouldn't carry you back, I need you to hear me. Put them down. You've done enough. You've given enough. You've sacrificed enough. It's time to choose yourself. It won't be easy. There will be people who call you selfish. There will be people who try to guilt you into staying. There will be moments when you wonder if you're doing the right thing. Do it anyway. Because on the other side of that fear, on the other side of that guilt, on the other side of that doubt, there's a life waiting for you. A life where you're the priority. A life where you're valued. A life where you're free. I found that life, and you can too. My name is Carmen James. I'm 44 years old. I'm a cancer survivor, a divorce survivor, a life survivor. And this is my story. Thank you for listening. Thank you for caring. Thank you for being here with me. Now go choose yourself. You deserve it. You always did. There was one more moment I need to tell you about. One final encounter that closed the chapter completely. It happened about 18 months after the divorce. I was at the grocery store on a Saturday afternoon, just doing my regular shopping, filling my cart with fresh vegetables, good meat, things I actually wanted to eat instead of whatever was on sale because money was tight. Money wasn't tight anymore. Hadn't been for a while. I was in the produce section, squeezing avocados, when I heard a voice behind me. Carmen. I knew that voice. Even after all that time, I knew it immediately. My body tensed for just a second before I remembered that I had nothing to be afraid of. Not anymore. I turned around. Derek was standing there. He looked different. Older. Thinner. His clothes were cheap, the kind you buy at discount stores when you can't afford anything else. His hairline had receded. His eyes had bags under them. This was the man who used to walk around in designer suits, who drove a Mercedes, who told everyone he was a successful attorney, who thought he was better than me. Now he looked like exactly what he was, a broken man who had destroyed his own life. "Derek," I said. My voice was calm, neutral, like I was greeting a stranger. He shifted his weight from foot to foot, nervous, uncomfortable. "I've been wanting to talk to you," he said. "I've called a few times, but you never answer." "I blocked your number. The only communication I need from you is the restitution checks." He winced at that. "Good. Can we talk, just for a minute, please?" I looked at him, really looked, trying to see the man I married 20 years ago, the man I loved, the man I built a life with. He wasn't there anymore. Maybe he never was. "Fine," I said. "You have 2 minutes." We moved to a quiet corner near the bottled water. He stood there for a moment, gathering his thoughts. When he finally spoke, his voice was different, smaller, like all the arrogance had been drained out of him. I wanted to say I'm sorry. I waited, didn't respond. I know that doesn't mean anything. I know it doesn't fix anything, but I needed you to hear it. What I did to you, there's no excuse. I was selfish. I was cruel. I was stupid. He paused, took a breath. "When you got diagnosed, when you were sick and scared and needed me, I tried to steal everything you had. I tried to throw you out of your own house. I planned to move my girlfriend into your bed while you were fighting for your life." His voice cracked. "What kind of man does that? What kind of person?" I still didn't say anything. I just let him talk. After the divorce, after I lost everything, I had a lot of time to think about who I was, about what I had become, and I didn't like what I saw. I was a monster, Carmen. You deserved so much better than me. He looked at me with tears in his eyes. "I'm not asking you to forgive me. I know I don't deserve that. I just wanted you to know that I know what I did. I carry it with me every day. And I'm sorry. From the bottom of whatever's left of my heart, I'm sorry." I looked at this man who had shared my bed for 15 years, who had eaten my food, spent my money, lived in my house, who had lied to my face while sleeping with another woman, who had tried to destroy me when I was at my weakest. And you know what I felt? Nothing. Not anger, not satisfaction, not even pity. Just nothing. "Derek," I said finally, "I appreciate you saying that. I'm sure it wasn't easy." He looked hopeful for a second, like maybe there was a chance. "But here's what you need to understand. Your apology doesn't change anything. It doesn't undo the years of lies. It doesn't give me back the money you stole. It doesn't erase the pain of finding out my husband was planning to leave me while I had cancer." His face fell. "Your apology is for you. It's to help you sleep at night, to make you feel like you tried to make things right. And that's fine. Everyone deserves to find peace." I picked up my shopping cart. "But your peace is not my responsibility. I found my own peace a long time ago, without you, despite you." I started to walk away, then stopped, turned back to him one more time. "I don't hate you, Derek. I don't wish bad things on you. But I also don't forgive you. Maybe someday I will. Maybe I won't. That's not something I'm worried about." I looked him straight in the eye. "What I am is free. Free of you. Free of your family. Free of the weight I carried for 15 years. That's worth more to me than any apology you could ever give." I walked away, left him standing there in the grocery store, didn't look back. When I got to my car, I sat there for a moment, checking in with myself, waiting to see if any emotions would surface. Anger, sadness, regret. Nothing came. I realized then that I was truly healed, not because he apologized, not because I forgave him, but because he had lost all power over me. He was just a man now, a stranger, someone from my past who no longer had any claim on my present or my future. I drove home, put away my groceries, made myself a beautiful dinner, ate it alone, in my beautiful kitchen, in my beautiful house, in my beautiful life. And I was happy. That's the thing about healing. It doesn't happen because the person who hurt you apologizes. It doesn't happen because they suffer consequences. It doesn't even happen because justice is served. It happens when you decide to stop letting the pain define you, when you choose to build something new instead of dwelling on what was destroyed, when you realize that your happiness doesn't depend on anyone else. Derek tried to break me. He failed. And now, every single day, I get to live the life he thought he could take from me. That's not revenge. That's not karma. That's just me, being exactly who I was meant to be, finally. Let me tell you about Keisha. She was one of the first women the Ruth Foundation helped. 38 years old, married for 12 years, 2 kids, and a husband who had been draining her bank accounts for years while she worked 2 jobs to keep the family afloat. She found us through a social worker at the hospital, came into our office looking exactly how I must have looked 3 years ago, exhausted, defeated, carrying the weight of everyone else while nobody carried her. I sat with her for 2 hours that first day, just listening, letting her tell her story. And when she was done, when she had cried out all her tears and apologized for being a mess, I told her something. Keisha, you're not a mess. You're a warrior who's been fighting without any backup. But that ends today. From now on, you've got an army behind you. We helped her document everything. Every bank statement, every hidden credit card, every dollar her husband had stolen while telling her they couldn't afford school clothes for their kids. Vanessa took her case pro bono. Jackie did her financial audit. Denise helped with the kids when Keisha needed to be in meetings. 6 months later, Keisha was divorced. She got the house, the kids, and child support. Her ex-husband got a payment plan for restitution and a court order to stay away from her. I was there the day her divorce was finalized. She walked out of that courthouse and just stood there in the sun, face tilted up, eyes closed, breathing deep. I forgot what this felt like, she said. What felt like? Being light, not carrying anything, just existing without 1,000 pounds on my shoulders. I understood exactly what she meant. That's what the Ruth Foundation is about. Not just the legal help or the financial planning. It's about showing women that they don't have to carry it all, that asking for help isn't weakness, that there's a whole community of women who have been where they are and made it to the other side. We've helped over 60 women now, 60 women who were drowning and needed someone to throw them a rope, 60 women who are now rebuilding their lives on their own terms. Some of them needed divorce help. Some needed protection from abusive partners. Some just needed someone to look at their finances and show them they weren't as trapped as they thought. Every single one of them had the same look in their eyes when they first came to us, that look of hopelessness, that feeling that there was no way out. And every single one of them left us standing taller, walking lighter, believing in themselves again. That's what I get to do now. That's how I spend my time, not carrying people who don't appreciate it, but lifting up women who just need a hand. There's a difference. When you carry someone, you do all the work while they do nothing. You wear yourself down while they stay comfortable. You sacrifice your own well-being for people who wouldn't sacrifice anything for you. When you lift someone up, you help them find their own strength. You show them the way, but they do the walking. You give them tools, but they build their own future. That's what I wish I had known 20 years ago, the difference between carrying and lifting, between sacrifice and support, between losing yourself and finding community. I lost so many years carrying Derek and his family, years I'll never get back, energy I'll never recover, money I'll never see again. but I refuse to regret it, because those years taught me everything I needed to know. They showed me what I would never accept again. They gave me the fire that burns in me now. And now I use that fire to light the way for others. Someone asked me once what I would say to my younger self, the Carmen who is 23 years old, standing at the altar, promising her life to a man who would almost destroy her. I thought about it for a long time. I wouldn't tell her not to marry him, because if I hadn't married Derek, I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't have learned the lessons I learned. I wouldn't have found the strength I didn't know I had. But I would tell her this: pay attention. Document everything. Know your worth before someone tries to convince you it's less than it is. Build your own foundation so that if someone tries to knock you down, you have something solid to land on. And most importantly, don't wait 15 years to choose yourself. Don't wait until you have cancer. Don't wait until someone hands you divorce papers. Don't wait until you're at the absolute bottom of your life. Choose yourself now, today, this moment, because you deserve it, and you don't need anyone's permission. I'm standing in my garden now, the one I planted last year. The roses are in full bloom, pink and red and yellow and orange, a riot of color that I get to look at every single day. I'm 44 years old. I'm a cancer survivor. I'm a divorce survivor. I'm a life survivor. I work a job I love. I have friends who would do anything for me. I have a mama who prays for me every night. I have a foundation that helps women find their power. I have a life, a real life, a life that belongs completely and entirely to me. Derek tried to take this from me. He waited until I was sick. He planned in secret. He thought he had all the power. He was wrong. Because here's what he didn't understand, what none of them understand until it's too late. You can try to break a woman who knows her worth, but you'll fail. Every single time. She might bend, she might bruise, she might even fall down. But she will get back up, and when she does, she will be stronger than you ever imagined. I am living proof. So this is my message to you. Whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're going through, you are stronger than you know. You are worth more than they told you. You deserve more than the crumbs they leave you. And it's not too late. It's never too late. Start today. Start right now. Start with one small step. Document something, save something, reach out to someone, make a plan, find your sister circle, choose yourself, because you can carry everyone else forever, and they will never appreciate it. They will never be satisfied. They will always want more. Or you can put them down. Stand up straight. Look in the mirror at the warrior you've always been, and finally, start living for yourself. I did it. Keisha did it. 60 other women did it, and you can too. My name is Carmen James. I carried his whole family for 15 years. The day I got diagnosed with cancer, he filed for divorce. What he didn't know was that I'd been building my case for 3 years. He tried to leave me with nothing. He left with nothing. I kept everything. And now, I'm free. Choose yourself, sis. You deserve it. You always have.